Hello, my dear friends. I'm glad to come your way again today. It's always a pleasure for me to stop by and brainstorm with you on the issues of life. Remember that our present series is Challenges in Our Faith, and I want to refer you to a scripture, First John 2, verse 6, which says, whoever claims to be a Christian, a follower of Christ, must live as Christ did, right? So many well meaning believers who accepted to model their lives after Christ have also understood that that cannot just be a confession. It has to be a lifestyle. And in a world as this, that is not easy to accept, or that is not easy to let go. When you choose to follow Christ, it's as if you have opened your life to all kind of attacks. And this is the part that you were not really told at the point of signing your contract with Christ through salvation. All that was presented to you was surely the good things that you will have if you accept to follow Christ, from the spirit to the soul to the body, right? Even up to rapture or eternal judgment, the advantages were told you, but you were not really prepared for persecution. And I said in the previous episodes that it is because of the kind of people that preach to you. If you met Christ, Christ would have told you that any man who wants to start a battle must first sit down and count the cost. And since you did not count the cost, I have come to bring that to you now, because there is nobody that is saved that has chosen to follow Christ with their life that will not be persecuted. And usually, as Christ said in Matthew chapter 10, that those that will fight you first will be the members of your own family. I think from verse 20 downward, it says, a man's foes shall be the members of his own household. And that is why Jesus said, if you don't hate your father, if you don't hate your mother, if you don't hate your wife, your siblings, and even yourself, you cannot be his disciples. When he says hate, he is simply meaning that if your love for him does not is not supreme to the love you have for your father, then it will be difficult to follow him, because when he says you should go left and your father or your mother says you should go right, you will likely follow your father if your love for him is not supreme. So what he is actually saying is that love him supremely and be ready to obey him come what may, once he has spoken and once he has given you instructions. Nobody on earth should stand contrary to that commandment, to that instruction. And it is your faithfulness to that instruction that attracts persecution. Because your father will not understand why he gave birth to you, and you are instead having paying allegiance to someone you cannot see physically. You are instead paying allegiance to a book, because usually that's how they call the Bible. It's just a book. I have lived many years and I'm giving you instructions and you don't want to follow, and you are following what is written in a book, and that is what brings persecution. But let me tell you something today about the advantages of persecution. This noise, this dust, this pressure around your life, does it have any advantage? Many advantages it does have. And the first is that it makes you know God. It is when you are persecuted the highest. It's when there is so much pressure around your life that you also see the manifestation. You also see the hand of God in almost every step of your life. It pushes you to prayers. And as you seek his face for all these challenges, you hear his voice. That is when I learned to hear the voice of God. That was the period that I understood the voice of God. I understood the ways of God. I understood how God could answer according to my need. It was during pressure. So much pressure and misunderstanding and contradictions. You will do a very simple thing and it will be attributed so much evil, so much that you did not intend, and they are crucifying you for that. It was during that time when you feel so frail, so fragile, so abandoned and so left to yourself, that you see that Bible verse that says, when your father forsakes you, God becomes your father. You will actually experience it. The second thing it does is that it reveals you to yourself. During pressure, you see your true nature comes out. You may be angry, a bitter person. You see what you can bear and what you cannot bear. You see what extent you can go in forgiveness, in patience. You see how much pressure you can actually contain. You know, when you apply pressure on toothpaste, sorry, what is inside comes out. So you may think that you are very holy, you may think that you are very forgiving and very nice, but persecution makes you to discover who you really are, to discover which character you really have, and how much you can really bear. We will continue in this line in the next episode. I wish you well, my dear friends. Bye bye.